Welcome, truth seekers and mythbusters, to another episode of the Oddcast, the podcast where we delve into the shadows of folklore and try to separate fact from fiction. Today we're sinking our teeth into one of the most infamous and terrifying creatures of modern legend, the Chupacabra. Translated as goat sucker, this cryptid has haunted the Americas for decades, leaving a trail of mystery and drained livestock in its wake. But what is the Chupacabra? Where did it come from? And is there a scientific explanation behind the terrifying tales? Let's dive in. Our story, or at least the modern iteration of it, begins in March of 1995 in Puerto Rico. Reports started trickling in from the town of Canovanas. Farmers were waking up to a horrific sight. Their livestock, primarily sheep, found dead with strange small puncture wounds, often on the neck or chest, and seemingly completely drained of blood. This wasn't typical predator behavior. It was something else. Just a few months later, in August of 1995, the phenomenon exploded. In the same Puerto Rican town of Canovanas, an astonishing 150 farm animals and pets were reportedly slaughtered in a similar fashion. This is when the term Chupacabra was coined by Puerto Rican comedian Silverio Perez, rapidly cementing itself in the public consciousness. Eyewitnesses began to emerge, describing a creature unlike anything known to science. The early descriptions from Puerto Rico were truly unsettling. A bipedal beast, often described as standing between 3 and 5 feet tall, with leathery or scaly skin, large, glowing red eyes, sharp fangs, and a distinctive row of spines running down its back, reminiscent of a reptilian kangaroo or even an alien. Some even reported it hopping on powerful hind legs. It was a creature straight out of a horror movie. In fact, a popular theory investigated by author Benjamin Radford suggests that the initial eyewitness descriptions, particularly from a woman named Madeline Tolentino, were heavily influenced by the alien creature Syl from the 1995 sci-fi horror film Species. Tolentino had reportedly seen the movie before her sighting, and the description aligned remarkably. As the panic spread, so did the sightings. Soon, reports of similar attacks and strange creatures began to surface across Latin America, including Mexico, Chile, and Brazil, and eventually into the southern United States. This is where the narrative of the Chupacabra begins to diverge significantly. While the Puerto Rican accounts painted a picture of an alien-like bipedal creature, the descriptions from Texas and Mexico often shifted. Instead of a reptilian alien, witnesses began to describe something more canine. A 4-legged animal, often hairless, with thick, scabby skin, a hunched back, and a gaunt, sickly appearance. These creatures were still blamed for livestock deaths, though the blood-drained detail became less prominent and often, upon investigation, unsubstantiated. So are we talking about 2 different monsters, or one evolving myth? That's the fascinating part. It seems the Chupacabra myth adapted to its cultural landscape. In areas where alien stories were prevalent, the creature remained extraterrestrial. In ranching communities, it transformed into a rogue animal. But the core fear remained constant, something unknown, terrifying, and preying on what people valued most, their livestock. Now let's address the science. For years, scientists, biologists, and veterinarians have investigated alleged Chupacabra carcasses and attack sites. And the findings, while perhaps less sensational than the legend, offer a compelling explanation. The vast majority of Chupacabra carcasses found in the US, particularly those described as the canine type, have been definitively identified through DNA analysis as coyotes, dogs, or even dog-coyote hybrids. Their bizarre, monstrous appearance is often due to severe cases of sarcoptic mange. Mange is a parasitic skin disease caused by mites burrowing under the animal's skin. This leads to extreme hair loss, thickened and wrinkled skin, and often secondary bacterial infections that can give the animal a foul odor. An animal suffering from advanced mange would appear emaciated, with raw patches of flesh and a distorted posture. Imagine seeing such a creature in the dim light of dawn or dusk. It's easy to mistake it for something truly otherworldly. Furthermore, these sick animals are often debilitated and desperate. Hunting agile wild prey becomes incredibly difficult, so they turn to easier targets, confined livestock. The puncture wounds often reported on victims. While the blood-drained claim is rarely supported by forensic evidence, blood often pools internally or coagulates quickly, The bite marks themselves are consistent with canine predators. Coyotes, for instance, don't always get a good grip on their prey and may rebite, leading to multiple puncture wounds that can indeed cause significant blood loss, even if the animal isn't drained. So, it seems that a very real, albeit unfortunate, animal disease, combined with existing fears of predation and a dash of human imagination, created the modern cryptid we know as the Chupacabra. The initial Puerto Rican sightings, potentially influenced by pop culture, then evolved as the story spread, adapting to local fears and interpretations. The Chupacabra's journey from a localized panic in Puerto Rico to an international pop culture icon is a testament to the power of folklore in the digital age. It's not just about what the Chupacabra is, but what it represents: our fears of the unknown, of disease, of the vulnerability of our livelihoods. It's a vivid reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we create in our minds, often based on very real, though misunderstood, circumstances. That's all for today's Oddcast. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep an eye on those shadows. You never know what's out there, or what you might think is out there.